Welcome to Beyond Birth Trauma, From Burden to Brilliance, where we uncover the powerful truth about your beginnings and how they've shaped your entire life. I'm Shannon O'Flaherty, and in this show, we are not just exploring your birth, we are dismantling the chains of generational trauma. We're diving into the core of who you are, peeling back layers of inherited beliefs and behaviors that have held you back for far too long. This isn't just about understanding your past, it is about reclaiming your future. Get ready to break free. This is Beyond Birth Trauma, From Burden to Brilliance, and your transformation starts now. Hi, Shannon O'Flaherty here. Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm really excited to have my friend and colleague Jen Kalawur here with us today. Jen Kalawur is a transitions empowerment coach, spiritual mentor, ordained minister, and full spectrum doula. She's an experienced Kripalu and yoga impact teacher who specializes in the therapeutic benefits of yoga, helping clients navigate life's challenges with greater resilience, clarity, and self-awareness. As a white light Reiki master, Jen offers private Reiki sessions and certification trainings. She also incorporates coaching, Akashic record readings, tarot, and natal chart interpretation to help clients reconnect with their authentic selves and align with their unique path. Jen believes that true transformation begins with self-awareness. Through a blend of practical tools, spiritual insight, and compassionate guidance, she empowers clients to move beyond limiting circumstances and create lives filled with greater purpose, peace, and fulfillment. The principles of yoga extend far beyond the mat, and through movement, breathwork, mindfulness, and reflection, Jen helps clients cultivate emotional balance, present moment awareness, and the confidence to make choices that support their highest good. As a mentor, she provides a supportive space for growth, offering encouragement, accountability, and wisdom as clients navigate life transitions and step more fully into their personal power. So, Jen, it's so great to have you here with us today. Thank you so much for your time and joining us.
Thank you
Uh,
so much for having me.
yeah, I always love to start at the beginning with all of my guests because everything tracks back to that birth imprint, doesn't it? So,
Mm.
so tell me where do you come from and what was your family growing up?
Um, well, I'm from New Jersey, still in New Jersey, um, Irish Catholic family. I'm the oldest of five, and yeah, we grew up in a lake community, so belonged to the swim team, went to church every Sunday. To me, it was a typical upbringing. Like all the other families around us, we pretty much did the same thing.
Hmm. So oldest of five, with strong religious roots. So how was that atmosphere growing up? Was it a happy
Um,
situation?
For the most part, I would say, yeah, it was very strict. Um, we we weren't allowed to do a lot of things, like even certain movies we couldn't watch, things like that. Like my mom would check to see if it was approved by the church first before we could. So
Approved
it
the
was
church.
pretty strict.
Hmm. Hmm. Wow. So, um, what what really changed for you? What helped you? What triggered you to change and move away from your family, and what happened? Tell us your story.
Okay. Well, um, I never really fit in. Um, so that was I was always trying to find my space, find my way, and tried a lot of things that did not work, and be trials and tribulations. And then I discovered yoga. I liked it. I didn't really understand it. To me, it was like the easy exercise day that I would do.
That's what
But
I originally thought.
yeah. But the more I practiced, the more I learned about it. It challenged me, I feel like in all the right ways. So it made me understand um, faith a bit. I had a different understanding of who God is, and it wasn't um, opposing what I grew up with knowing, but it was just a different lens, a different perspective that I got to appreciate more.
Mhm. Yeah, that's really interesting. I think the stillness of yoga can, well, the whole idea is to go within, isn't it, really? And to
Yeah.
find that other stillness inside ourselves, that alignment. Um, yeah, absolutely. What made you find yoga?
Um, it's a long journey, but I can say that my husband I was going through a depression and he wanted to fix me and he couldn't. So he found out that a woman that he went to school with was a yoga teacher in a town near us. And he said that I was going to go to her class. And I said, I don't want to go to a yoga studio. I felt like I was too old. I was not physically perfect. So I didn't feel like I would be welcome there. And he said, I promise that she won't make you feel bad about yourself. So I went, kind of prove him wrong. But he was right. And she is one of my dearest friends today.
Hmm. Yeah, yoga, it can be really intimidating when you think you're just going to be around all of these young, stretchy things and like forever
Right. Yeah,
without
the
feeling it.
commercialization of it. Yeah. But yoga to me, it was something that I needed to experience myself and just being in that room, even just, holding myself and like parenting myself. And it was something that church never did for me. It was like, do this because you're supposed to, or this is the truth because the Bible says so. And this
Mhm.
was like me discovering what was true for myself. Um, through my experience. Um, yeah, so that to me was like the biggest difference. It was more authentic.
It's almost like discovering that your body is connected to your mind and your emotions and your
Hmm.
spirituality, that it's like, oh, look at this amazing container I've got, and look look at all of the magic that can come out of me when I actually pay attention to this and go within and see how it's all connected and working for me instead of
Yeah.
receiving information.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
absolutely. Especially like growing up as female, there was so much body shaming. And even, if I danced too risque, like I would be like I wasn't allowed to dance, I wasn't allowed to move, wasn't allowed to because it was like suggesting something. And even like as a child, like that being told like shut it down, don't show too much, don't be too much. And I do feel like the practice of yoga healed that for me. I'm like that I could be body conscious and body proud because this is how I was created.
Mhm. It's really interesting that you mention being too much, because I think a lot of women are, yeah, told to be quiet, be polite, be small, be delicate, be fragile, speak only when spoken to, don't be all of your potential, don't be loud, don't run, don't take up space. And it's really important, especially as children, because children are the free children. I know so many grown-ups who they've buried their free child somewhere and they have a very hard time accessing that kind of inner playfulness and joy that
Yeah,
we all still have, if especially if you brought it with you or rediscovered it and woke up
yeah.
again. Yeah.
Absolutely. I would say, yeah, I began rediscovering myself in my 40s, using yoga. That's when I went to the yoga teacher training and it was like I got to play and I had the permission to play.
What were you doing before you got into yoga?
I worked in corporate for over 20 years, doing financial services like accounts receivable, accounts payable,
Mm-hmm.
all the fun stuff.
And then, so I like the image of you holding yourself like you would
Mm,
hold a child, because we all do need to reparent ourselves, basically. Not that all of our parents were terrible, they were doing the
yeah,
best they could with the
yeah,
knowledge and the belief systems they had, but we're all different individuals, and what works for one doesn't necessarily work for another. But so, sounds like yoga opened something up for you
yeah,
and took you deeper than just the yoga class. So then you went on to yoga teacher training.
yes, yeah,
And what
absolutely.
happened after that?
Well, I was definitely on my spiritual path. I was no longer in corporate, so that all kind of ended at the same time. And I was on a spiritual journey as well. I was in a spiritual development group, and that's where I learned how to use my psychic gifts. And again, being allowed to play with it. And because I was taught that it was wrong and it was not of God. And I learned myself that that's not actually true. And it can actually serve people to get them closer to God. So, yeah, and I became a Reiki practitioner right in that same timeline, 2013, 12, 13, yeah.
When did you know that that you had psychic gifts? Because I think as children, probably most of us do, but we don't have anything
Mm.
to compare it to, so we don't know that it's anything different or strange. Like, I was seeing auras all the time when I was a kid, but I didn't know, didn't seem remotely different to me because that was just my
Mm.
experience. So when did that twig for you that you were having psychic gifts?
I definitely had it as a child, and there was another thing I had to keep quiet about because it was upsetting to people. It was upsetting to my mom. I know she had gifts as well, and she felt like she had to close it down. So for me, it was, yeah, I think it was scary. It was scary for her, and um, then I just kind of put it away, hid it because I didn't want to, be seen as the weird kid that I was. I just should, try to fit in the middle of everything, not stand out.
Mm-hmm.
And as an adult, when it was reintroduced to me as something not to be afraid of and actually a gift, I was like, oh wow, this is a gift. And that word meant so much to me, because it is a gift from God that we get to find ways to be closer and receive information in different ways. So yeah, I'm just really grateful for that gift.
And it's interesting when you finally surrender to that and allow all of that information to come through without capping it in any way, then it creates more information and more openness to all of the signs and symbols that are out there coming to us on a daily basis all the time.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's things that I've discovered, I'm still discovering, and it's fun. It can be a little scary, like, wow, how much can I open up? And it's like, wait and see.
Let's find out.
Yeah.
Let's find out. So
Yeah.
what was the craziest thing that you opened up to?
Mm,
Well, craziest, it's not crazy.
yeah.
It's crazy, but
Um,
like the wildest kind of thing at the time that might not be wild to you now.
oh, okay. One thing that speaks to me a lot is numbers. And when I see like repeating numbers or um it's just like it catches my attention. And even though I don't fully understand what it means in the moment, like I just watching the unraveling of information coming through. And it really is more validation of the higher presence that is with us. working with the angels and knowing their presence. And when I see repeating numbers, I just kind of like look around and I'm like, I'm not alone. I'm not doing this by myself, that I'm being guided. Um, and and yeah, it's just sometimes it's little things, but the meaning behind it gets really big, and it helps me um go on my path and move in the right direction.
Yeah, I think it's cool. A friend just wrote to me about seeing repeating numbers, different sequences. And she's like, what does it mean? And I said, I don't know, but I do know that numbers do mean things. And you can look up the symbolic meaning of numbers or angel numbers. I don't know if those are the same thing, angel numbers and the symbolic meaning of numbers. I'm not sure. But any kind of repeating anything, you've heard the thing that if you hear the same thing three times randomly or see the same thing, that it's a message you're supposed to pay attention to. And I kind of feel it's the same thing with numbers or anything repeating, or anytime I see an animal, maybe not like a
Mm.
random cat or dog, but if I see a random animal like a hedgehog or a badger or something, like, oh, that's interesting, or a fox, I always look it up to see, well, what's the symbolic meaning? What's the spiritual meaning of that? Because maybe there's a message here for me, maybe not.
Right.
But it's just about being open to see what the message is coming. Do you look up what the numbers mean?
I do. I have a pretty good understanding of it. I could share a story. I saw 222. I woke up and I saw it, like it was just random because I don't look at the clock or find it, but my eye just went there, like I was meant to see it. And my understanding of the repeating two is to grow your garden or take care of your garden. And this was two in the middle of the night. So I went back to bed and I dreamed about a garden, and it was like a mess, and there was like debris and weeds that I had to clean it up. And then I moved to another part of the garden and it was bald. And I was like, I need to grow healthy things, like healthy plants in this garden. And then I woke up and I did a meditation about gardening. And like everywhere I looked, it was like I kept finding things to do to take care of my garden, even like my house. My husband and I are painting our living room. We just finished. Um, but I was like, this is our garden. Like, this is our little corner of the world. This is our space that we get to take care of it.
Yeah, your pacha in the shamanic, Incan shamanic tradition, it's a pacha. It's like a little
Yeah.
piece of earth, your sort of patch. So your garden is for sure your home, here where your life is. Yeah, that's interesting. Um, Very good.
Mhm.
So, so what were the things that you were taught were off limits for you that you had to overcome? And how was that for you? Because when we're raised with one message
Mhm.
and we get a calling to go whoosh completely the other way,
Yeah.
all of those childhood beliefs that we've grown up paying attention to and following the rules, even if we didn't agree with them, they're still really in our cellular makeup. So how did that manifest for you?
Well, with the group that I was working with, I trusted them. There was one woman, she's actually my Reiki master, Sharon, and she was like another mom to me. Like I just trusted her implicitly. And when she was doing a training with me, she was teaching me how to use a pendulum. And I was taught that pendulums are evil and that the devil tries, to work through that object to get to your soul. And I was terrified of it. And she's like, what is it that you're terrified of? And I told her the story that I believe to be true. And she's like, that it's just an object, it's like you can use it, as a tool, and that's it. There's no like magic behind it. It's just a tool that measures energy and gives you that information. And because she gave me that green light and I trusted her, I began to use it, and I was like fascinated by it, even like testing it, like my name is Jen, my name is Robin, like, and it will, know the difference just picking up that energy. So yeah, it was very freeing again. But it took, yes, it did take a while, and there is still a little part of me that like, is this okay? Am I okay? But then I asked my pendulum and it always says it is.
It's so fascinating the power that we humans give things. It's the
Mhm.
same idea around money that people think money is evil or bad, and money isn't any of those things. Money is just paper or some kind of weird plastic now and metal, right? Money is just a tool, isn't it? It's a method of exchange. It doesn't have a personality. It
Right.
doesn't have morals. It doesn't have any of that stuff. And I remember years ago, I was on a shamanic trip. I'm a mesa carrier, so I carry stones around with me. And we were going to ceremony, and I forgot my mesa, and I was all distressed on the bus because I didn't have my thing. And the head
Mhm.
shaman, he was just like, that's all just fluff. You don't need that. Like with their rocks at the end of the day. And I'm like, I know, but they're special rocks with special powers. He's like, just your intention is the power. And I was
Yeah,
like, okay, okay.
yeah.
And, I love ceremony and I love rituals and I love the rattles and the feathers and all of the bells and stuff because I think it creates a sort of trance-like feeling and a state, and it takes people out of their head a little bit to um, maybe expand their energy body. But all of that, yeah, it's just tools. I mean, you can use your fingers to spin your chakras. You don't need anything else
Right.
like that, right?
Right. Right.
So it's quite fascinating that I don't think that necessarily comes from your religious upbringing. I think a lot of people project energy onto things.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
That it's interesting you said that about the crystals, because I was someone asked me like, what do you think the crystals do for you? I'm like, what are you questioning me about this? Like they're not like magic. They're beautiful and they do have their own energy to them, and it helps me. Like if I'm nervous in the car, like I'll have like a black tourmaline stone just like to hold it, and it helps me feel grounded and constant energy. But do I exactly need it? If I don't have it, is something bad going to happen to me? No. It's just helps my energy.
I get the question about crystals a lot because I have a lot of crystals, like
Mm.
serious crystals. As I'm a magpie and they are shiny and bling and they're pretty and I love them. Do I
Yeah.
use crystals in my healing? Yes, I have one or two, but I could equally use a stone, right? It
Right.
doesn't have to be a crystal, it just happens to be a crystal. But
Yeah.
so I know some people are really into crystal healing, and that modality is also great because crystals do have their own different energies for different things. So you can use healings for crystals for healing, but otherwise crystals, they're just beautiful things to have around, and anything can make you feel good. You could have a favorite pen. I mean, it doesn't
Yeah.
it doesn't matter really. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah.
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 Um,
I like my rose crystal quartz. So I wear that because it reminds me to love and take care of myself, because I've been through a lot of times where I didn't put myself first,
mhm.
and someone gave me their rose quartz and she's like, this is for you. And I don't know exactly where that one crystal is, but I have so many of them, and it's just nice, to have it as a reminder.
I think anything that reminds you of your authentic truth and your potential and powers and ability is a great thing to have.
Yeah.
I have a little stuffed jaguar sitting on my dashboard in my car
Mhm.
because the jaguar is my main power animal and I like to have her there nearby. Um, Courts, however, you're also working with people, and this is amazing. Actually, I don't know if you know this, but if you are working with people regularly, and I've seen this in other people's surgeries where they'll have a big, huge piece of quartz, uh,
Mm,
rose quartz, because it does suck up the heavy energy of other people. And I
mhm,
used to wear those little quartz bracelets, and then after a time it would just break and fall off, and I'd get a new one. And the difference in the color of the crystals, like when it would break and fall off on its own accord, the crystals would be kind of yellow. Like I was like, oh wow, look at all
mhm,
of that energy it's absorbed. So if you're working with other people,
mhm.
not just you, Jen, but our viewing and listening
Yeah.
audiences. Either wearing some crystal on you or having a big one nearby is a really good plan, because I always cleanse my space after any client has been here anyway, which is also a good plan. But yeah, crystals do
Mhm.
absorb stuff.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's really important how much like we affect each other, and if our energy is, like when we're clearing other people's energy, yeah, we have to, ground ourselves and clear the room and clear the space. Very important. Um, I've had, I've even had clients that have come to me when they were like under the influence, and that I know I cannot work with. Like you have
no,
to keep yourself clean and pure to do this work, because it
I agree.
it's like sideways if it's not.
Well, you're just wasting everybody's time
Yeah.
and money. So that distinction, just going back to being told what to believe and
Mhm.
being allowed to experience something directly, I mean, that's an extremely important shift. And so did that become the foundation of how you eventually started to teach?
Yeah, I would say it was accumulation of all the things, and I bring it like everything that I do, I bring with me. Kind of so like I'll talk about Reiki in a yoga class. I'll talk about yoga during the Reiki session. Like everything just like comes together if it's relevant and it's there. And that's why I love like learning as much as I can. So I have a better understanding of all the tools that are available, and how to effectively use them. It's a bit of an obsession for me. It's just like I want to know more. I want to be able to do more and serve more and help more. But I do have gratitude for time that I need to get, more practice and more comfortable with doing the different modalities that I have.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all drawn to it's like an artist has a main kind of medium that they like to use more than the others, but it doesn't limit them from only painting in oils, right? They can also do watercolors or
Yeah.
charcoal or whatever. And it's the same thing with healing. So you grew your yoga business then?
Yes. So in 2017, I bought a yoga studio, and I was so happy. It was like every dream came come true that I got to work with different kinds of yoga teachers. So they taught me so much. Um, and yeah, it was just beautiful. When COVID closed I then continued virtually. I would stop at other studios, but I really like being online and being able to connect to more people. And and yeah, yeah. So I'm really grateful for my business and all the different ways that I can help others.
Hmm. It's so interesting how COVID changed, well, pretty much everybody's trajectory forward and
Yes.
world as we used to see it and know it. It's a very different situation now. So how did that emerge then? So you closed your yoga studio.
Mhm.
Now you teach yoga online.
Yes. Yep. In this very room, I teach 3 mornings a week, 2 gentle classes. So I taught this morning and one vigorous class, which I would say is subjective, but I do modifications so I can make it easier, I can make it harder. But each class, it always has a theme to it, and it always kind of surprises me. Like I'll ask people like um how they're feeling. Is there anything that you want to practice, or is there anything that you want to avoid practicing? And based on their answers, the class just kind of comes together, almost like magic, but it's like art energy, you know. It's really beautiful.
That's
Kind
a
of
really
like art.
interesting, it's an interesting question. What would you like to avoid practicing? Because me as a teacher, I'd go right there. I'd be like,
Yeah.
what? That's what you want to avoid, right? Let's look at that one then. Because that's the shadow creeping up. And why is it that you
Right.
want to avoid that? Is it because of, could be a multitude of things.
Right. Yeah, usually people want to avoid, like if there's an injury, that's usually why. And then yeah, sometimes it's like, no, the pose really wants to be expressed in this practice right now. So we're going to modify it. We're going to, make it accessible. So even though we don't think something's accessible for us, just a little tweak here and there, and you can experience it in a safe and beneficial way.
It's so interesting. When I was teaching classes, and every month I'd have a call with my coaches who were working with me, and we'd pull cards like tarot cards or medicine woman cards or Chuck Spitzano's relationship cards, which were always very, very interesting. And we came up with a card, and we were like, "Oh no, no, that doesn't apply to any of us." All three of us were in complete denial of this, like, no, no, that wasn't. And then we kept talking, and the more we kept talking, and I was just like, well, this is what this card is
That's what
saying.
it's saying.
We're all just like cracking up because
Yeah.
we thought, God, how good at being in denial were we all, until we did just keep talking about it, and all of the deeper stuff came up and out, which is what happens in yoga. You think you're in a position that you can't hold, right? And then you just, if you just surrender something or relax into it or stop the resistance, then something settles, and then it becomes easier, and then you feel like you could stay there all day. Like, but
Yeah.
it's getting out of that resistant part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
it's so beautiful, like the whole experience of it. And you don't need equipment. You don't need to have anything. It's just your physical body. And yeah, to experience yourself like in this myriad of different ways is another gift that I get to share with people. And people, when they say I don't do yoga because I can't touch my toes, it's like that's not a reason. But
try. So tell us that story about the day you took off your mask when you were
um,
teaching.
um, so I try to show up as the best version of myself all the time, right? And there is a saying, you don't know what people are bringing to the mat with
Mhm.
them. You don't know that they had a argument with their spouse, or they lost someone that they love, or something shifted, and they just need to be in that space and be honored, for them to figure it out themselves. And me leading that, I try to have that sensitivity. But there was a it happened more than once, but there was one day that I think I was arguing with my husband, and I was so mad, and I couldn't pretend that I wasn't. So I came in and I just was truthful. I'm like, I'm really not in a great mood right now. But we're gonna do this. Like, what do you guys all have? What do you want? And then it just kind of happened, and we started like laughing, we were crying, we were like getting like all this emotion out that was like, oh, being pushed down or pushed back to be some version that would be acceptable. And like all of that was thrown off the table. And it was one of the best yoga classes I ever had.
Well, yeah, when you show up your authentic self, whether it's the self you're supposed to show or not,
Right.
gives everybody else permission to be themselves too. And I mean, if you think about it, every single one of us is taking that argument with the partner to work with them for the day and having to suppress all of those feelings because they've got work to do and other things to focus on. And then maybe by the time they come home, that's distilled, that's not the energy, but the next day something happens and all of these things build up and they're never addressed because it's not big enough to lose any sleep over. So it's so cool that you could take a, a full emotion right there to class and unearth it in the moment and get it completely out of your system whilst bringing along everybody with you, right? So it like really frees up. And that's not just a temporary fix. When you
Right.
have an aha moment like that, when you realize that you can actually move your emotions through your body and out and not cast
Mm,
judgment on them is a really powerful
absolutely.
tool. Yeah,
Mm,
that's awesome.
yeah. We have a lot more power than we realize. And that's I really want people, especially women, to feel empowered and to know, to own their personal power.
I-
Because it
It,
is it's a responsibility as well as a gift.
it's very important. Yeah, I used to um, actually get angry about the power word back in the day. Something about, I don't know, the shamans would say, "You're afraid of your power." And I'd be like, "Oh, what is this power thing? How much power can one girl have?" I'm sure it's from past lifetimes blowing people up just because I didn't like the look of them, that I didn't want that kind of responsibility in this lifetime. So, but yes, accessing your power, being in touch with your goddess self, being in touch with your warrior self, loving both parts because we're both of everything, and finding your line on the ground so that you have clear boundaries, not projecting your stuff, owning it all. It's all a practice, but we've all got it in us.
Mhm.
So you specifically work with empaths now, and you call your program Empower the Empath. So I'd like to understand where that comes from personally. Were you always aware that you were an empath, or was that something you came to understand later on?
Um, I I knew I was sensitive. I was too sensitive for other people's comfort. And so there was a lot of shame with me getting overly emotional or feeling things or um but part of what I grew up with, there was a lot of trauma, there was abuse, and to be safe, I needed my sensitivity to know, when to stay quiet or when to speak up or when something needed to be done, and like no real blame on my parents because it just felt like all families were like this. Um, that the parents do the best that they can with what they have.
Mm-hmm.
And with 5 kids in the house, there was always chaos. There was always something that needed to be cleaned up or taken care of. And me as the oldest, I felt like that was my responsibility. So that my sensitivity did serve me in that way, to help keep me and my siblings safe and keep the house as calm as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I would get like little psychic hits, um, I I think I learned to appreciate that. Um, but I had to keep it quiet. There was a lot of shame around that too, about being too sensitive.
What
And
were you picking up that other kids weren't picking up?
Oh, just I knew, I knew a fight was coming, like those kind of things. Like I could feel dark energy,
Yeah. Hmm.
even I would say before my dad came in the house, I would feel like something rising up. And then I would see him and it would just confirm what I was getting. Like, oh, everybody stay out of his way. And yeah, so I did pick up like a lot of dark um growing up. And I would say that it would just make me smaller.
Hmm.
Um, as I gotten older, I got to experience more of the light and like this beautiful, warm, loving energy that's very different than what I grew up with. So to see the other side of it um, is it's like a full circle, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
That I don't need it for my protection anymore. And I actually get to get to expand myself to get grow bigger, instead of keeping myself in a small, convenient space.
Well, actually, if you think about it, I mean, expansion is its own protection, right?
Yeah.
More light you have, the more light you're going to emanate, and you're going to start by law of attraction, attracting different energies to you anyway, just by being and by expanding that light and living that truth and walking that truth.
Yeah.
Because when fear is your motivating factor at whatever level that is, and that need to shrink and hide, you don't have a lot of power when you're condensed and contracted, right? Your power comes from expansion.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful and it's like it's exponential. It's not linear. I I'm just in awe of it all the time.
So when did you stop hiding all of that light, or at least start to?
Um, yeah, I would say when the path was very clear that leaving corporate and becoming a yoga teacher, it was like that changed everything for me. That I was allowed to. I'm very grateful for my husband's support. When I lost the job actually because of the yoga teacher training schedule, that it was a conflict. So they let me go. And when I told my husband, he said, good. And it was good. And it was, that I got to live my life on my terms instead of, you know, going to work, being a good employee, being a good coworker, like doing all the right things. And, you know, now I got to make my own playbook.
Yeah, we are the architects of our lives. So what do you want it to look like? Yeah,
Right.
start your design now. So when someone comes to you through Empower the Empath, what kind of stuff are they usually carrying?
Um, Usually a lot of heaviness that we inherit because we're we're taught that um, we're taught not that we're not free beings,
Is
and
that? Yeah.
yeah, and we can just carry a lot of stuff that's not ours. And to give people permission to let that go, it's a lot of release, a lot of letting go, I would say, is the beginning of that. And listen and just me not running away when their darker truths come out, or their pain or their insecurities or their beliefs, and I just sitting there with them like you're not scaring me away. I'm going to stay with you through this. um they find their way through. They just need someone with them, and a little guidance. But we're so powerful. And just to be reminded of it and to be seen, is so important. And we don't see each other enough, you
No,
know.
we really don't. I mean, it's quite amazing that so many people don't go on the path of spiritual self-discovery because they don't want to dig up anything too painful. And I think, but you're living in a place of incompleteness. If you're not feeling content and joyful, or there's stuff that's still triggering you, or you're still arguing, or you still hate people, that's not living in happiness either. So I've always thought, well, face the dark stuff, get it up, get it out, and
Yeah,
deal with it. And then you can put it away, really, because it doesn't have the same grip on you. Once you find the monster under the bed, you can
right.
be friends with it, or at least have a better understanding of it, of your wounding from an adult perspective with the whole story instead of just the childlike viewpoint. So,
Mm.
how does your Empower the Empath program actually work? When somebody comes to work with you, what do they get to experience?
So the first thing that I do is create a roadmap for them. I use Akashic records. I use natal chart, and I use like other cards, and they fill out, like they give me their information as well, like how they perceive themselves or whatever they're dealing with. So then we just go through it together and see what their goals are, where they want to go, what they're ready to release, and we start from there. And then I do training, so they have a clear understanding of their gifts and how to use them ethically and effectively. And I'll do the yoga membership is included, so they get, a big sense of me and my teachings. So they get a lot of me like every week, and then we meet once a week, just one-on-one. So it's a good container. It's a good, healthy container. I also, offer like whatever is going to be useful for them, because each person is different, right? We all have our own needs, and if there's something that they're not into, then we take it off the table, and we could focus on what they do want to focus.
So
So
Empower the Empath is a 6-month program.
yes, it's a 6 month program, and I like it that way because if you wanted to extend it or go deeper into a certain field, um, or do more like training in anything, I can offer that. So like for the initial container, I would do like a Reiki 1 training. If they're already a Reiki practitioner, then we'd shift it. But the yoga membership is, I think, the biggest plus for everyone to come in, and then our one-to-one meetings together.
Sounds like a really comprehensive program. You get yoga, you get Reiki, you get the Akashic records, your natal
Yeah.
chart. Yeah, so where can people find you? Tell us your website.
Yes, my website is navigatelifetransitions.net.
Okay, great. Navigatelifetransitions.net. And that's how
Yes.
you can find Jen, and everything they'd need to know would be there. Yeah.
Yes, everything's there. I don't have the coaching up there because I want to talk to people first so we both know that it's a good fit, because it is pretty intense time that we share together. So I want to make sure that we're a good fit. Um,
Yeah, me too. I don't work with anybody that I don't speak to
yeah.
first. Yeah. Oh, you can find me also at shannonoflaherty.com. And you can book a truth map call. I offer 30-minute free calls so that we can see if we're a good fit to work together, because whoever you're working with, whatever therapist, whatever teacher, if you don't feel you have a good dance with that person, don't waste your time and money working with them because you're not going to receive the information in the best way, nor will they be able to do their best work with you. So find somebody that you get,
Yeah.
that feel they
Yeah.
get you too, and then enjoy so that you can have the most productive session in whatever it is that you're doing.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So I do the discovery sessions as well, about 30 minutes, give or take, just to connect and see how, how we could work together.
Yeah. So, so Jen, what's a practice that keeps you anchored? Something that you come back to every day, kind of no matter what, or most days?
Yeah, definitely the breath. Just taking some deep breaths in and long breaths out. I play with the count of them, but I do like box breath because it's 4, 4, 4, repeating numbers, right? But it's a 4 count inhale, and then you 4 count, suspend the breath, holding it in, and then 4 count exhale, and then 4 counts holding it out. Um, and you do that every time you think of it. I do it every time I think of it, or if I'm stressed and I need to relax and calm down. It just brings me back to a nice baseline. And it's really good for regulating our nervous system as well.
I just did 3 reps of that while you were talking.
I
It's
love
like,
it.
then over. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's a really good one. Things that you can do when you're out and about, when you're shopping, when you're sitting in traffic, whatever. There's so many little tools that are right at our fingertips or right in our breath that can help us immensely. And
Absolutely.
what about the pulling of the cards? We love that.
I love pulling cards. Yeah, I play with them a lot. There's so much symbolism. Like my favorite is tarot, and I have a few of those, but I love different oracle cards as well. And I just buy what I'm attracted to and finding, little messages there. And yeah, I just enjoy them.
Yeah, I like the cards too. I don't generally do spreads or all of that. I always beat the energy of the deck before I take it because I hold fire ceremonies every month and everybody's pulling cards, so I don't know who was last on my deck of cards. So I want that energy gone. So my own. I blow my own energy in. I say this is for me and my name, and I lay them all out, and I just go across with my left hand because it's my tracking hand, and I
Mhm.
wait until I just get the hit for the right card. Sometimes it's almost like spirit presses my hand down. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll have that one. And I just one, and usually my question is, the highest and best card for me to have today. Right?
Yeah,
For thinking of anything. And I pull it out to see what it has to say and what the message is. And it's truly amazing what comes up in just those little interactions and what you can learn about yourself or tap into maybe that little piece that you've been denying or not paying attention to because shadow.
yeah, for sure. And
Mhm.
it's interesting when I pull a card that I don't want and I feel my reaction to it, like, oh, this card.
Not this one again. I know,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. Sometimes, yeah, when they're repeating and you get like the same card a few days in a row, oh, it's like, okay, I got the message.
And do you have a favorite spread or are you a one card girl also?
I do the Celtic cross spread. That's like the main one. So if somebody does a tarot reading with me, it's like a nice full spread, and it goes into like where you are, what are your challenges, what is your teacher, and what
Mhm.
is like general outcome. But it's like I love how they kind of talk to each other. I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, the king's here and over they're over here. I geek out about all of that stuff.
There's worse things to geek out about.
Yeah. Yeah, but it
So, tell us about the meta meditation moment. We spoke about that the other day, and that sounded really lovely. You want to tell us about that and now?
Yeah. Just generally about meditation or going into
That
meditation.
particular one, the
Oh, the
meditation.
meta. Yes. Thank you. Yes. So it's basically a Buddhist principle of loving kindness. And if you think of somebody that's very easy for you to love, and just saying like prayer, may you be healthy, may you be happy, um, just like wishing good energy for them. And then you think of somebody that you don't really know and you don't have any, you know, attraction or aversion to them and wish them well as well. May you be happy, may you be healthy, may all good come your way. And then you think of somebody that does trigger you and maybe harder to love and send them the exact same meta message and really like feeling that as well, like feeling it for each one, like you're sending that loving kindness out. And then lastly, sending it to yourself. May you be happy, may I be happy, may I be healthy.
Yeah, that's a really beautiful daily practice. And that's a lovely way to pray for other people because energetically, what you send out, you do get back. And
Mhm.
I've played with things like that before, maybe not in that exact way, but it is really amazing if you're angry with someone when you heal that in yourself and you start to send them love again, how that is immediately responded to.
Yeah.
It's quite fascinating. So let's just have a few downloads from today's call. So if you'd like to receive these downloads, put your palms up and lower them down so you're not hovering and your feet flat on the floor. Have a little drink of water and let me just connect. And when I say what it is, if you'd like to receive that, just say yes out loud. I know what it feels like to trust what I am receiving. I feel safe to be exactly as sensitive as I am. I know what it feels like to stop hiding what I know. I give myself permission to soothe my own inner child. I know what it feels like to take responsibility for myself. I feel safe to explore what I was told I could not. In every cell of your body, in every level and plane of your existence. Thank you, God. It is done. It is done. It is done. So, when you receive a download, you might feel tingling, you might see colors, you might get a whole costume drama. It's up to you. It's all called visualization. Even if you don't see anything, you feel it. So, I have a separate YouTube that just has all of the downloads from these assorted shows. So, Jen, if our viewing and listening audience could take away only one thing from everything we've talked about today, what would you most want them to know from today's conversation?
Just that you are loved just by you being, that God created you. We're all created out of love. So remember that when you look in the mirror, when you look in the eyes of another person, that we're all created by and in love.
That's beautiful.
Mhm.
And we are. And we're all connected too. So remember you're loving inner free child spirit, that's you every day, and tune into that every morning so that you can have a really great day. And Jen, thank you so much for your time and being here with me today. It's been wonderful to have you on my show. And everybody, thanks so much for tuning in live, and we'll see you next time. Lots of love. Bye, everybody.
Bye, thank you.
You have been listening to Beyond Birth Trauma, From Burden to Brilliance with Shannon O'Flaherty on Transformation Talk Radio. On the second Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Time, we connect the dots between your ancestors, your birth, and the patterns that keep you stuck, guiding you to a place of profound healing and unstoppable brilliance. By examining and healing your cellular imprint from birth of how you perceive and respond to the world and the challenges that are created in your day-to-day life, we can begin to heal and live more balanced and fulfilling lives. For more information, visit shannonbtb.com. That's shannonbtb.com.